Good morning, I'm at Bicester Heritage, or Bicester Motion as we now seem to have to call it. It's not a scramble, but it's a Scramblers Assembly. So Scramblers is the kind of, I guess, membership club that Bicester Heritage set up, well, 3 or 4 years ago now. But obviously it sort of seems to be evolving into something a little bit more than it perhaps started out as. Anyway, 2 or 3 times a year they have an assembly where scramblers come along and bring their cars and do whatever. So I think this sort of Formula 1 theme this week, because it's the Australian Grand Prix this morning. So I guess that's already finished, but I haven't seen the results. That'll be interesting though. Hope Norris has done well. So we're just going to have a look around, see who's here, see what cars are here, see if there's anything interesting, and we'll catch you later. Yeah, I really like these. This Lancia Fulvia. Beautiful cars. Tiny little things. I think it's a V4 power. Just a tiny sort of slanted engine in the front there. Sort of hanging forward of the front axle, I think it is. But yeah, beautiful condition and a very interesting colour this. Jaguar XJS, it's a later one after they removed the hyphen between the J and the S. Nice colour. Nice pair of V12 Vantages, Aston Martins. So this one, an earlier one on the right and a later one on the left, apparently with a 7-speed auto box. Another early V12 Vantage over here. Just did a video about American classic cars in the UK. I mentioned the Corvette. This is a Corvette Stingray, the C2. A convertible. But it makes a great noise. Little 1980s corner here. It's a Porsche. It's kind of a turbo look, but it's not a turbo. It's a Carrera. White with the black details. It's very of the period. And Ford Escort RS 1600i, and as is the custom for anyone owning a Ford at a car show, you have to open the bonnet. Don't know why, just a thing. I'm surprised there's no mirrors underneath as well, because often they like to put mirrors on so you can see what pipework and ducting they've put in. Lovely shape though, these. Does bring back memories of the one I had, although mine was only a 1.3, but it was a 3-door, so it looked like this. It's a bit more modern, but Porsche Cayman. Some say the best car that Porsche actually make. Possibly down-rated, just so it doesn't upset the 911 people. There you go, Honda NSX. I think I've seen this one here a few times before. It's unsurprising, I see a few of these because they're all members of the Scramblers Club. Believe this one has an automatic. Yeah, so possibly not as exciting as a manual, but depends on your style of driving, depends what you're into. Looks good though. Couldn't not feature this little trio of Lotuses. Lotus Esprit Turbo, it's a high compression one, so a later one. Probably one of the last of the Giugiaro styled cars before Peter Stevens took over. Lovely thing. I do prefer the look of mine. I'd love a turbo, but I do prefer the look of mine that has the black bumpers. I think that, I don't know, I just think it looked a bit better, but of its time clearly. Then we got an Elise, and over here an Evora 410 in a kind of JPS livery. Little lineup of Porsches, 911s, Boxsters, Caymans, and an Audi R8, just to upset the Porsche lineup. Now the MGB is Britain's most popular classic car, and the GT is possibly the best of those unless you really want open top motoring. But I drove one of these round wasn't the Malvern Hills, but it was that kind of direction, and it was an absolute hoot. This one's had a few modifications. It's got some kind of racing wheels on this one. Looks tidy though. Mitsubishi Evo 6 Lancer. Very rally inspired. I think this might well be an import judging by the square plate on the front. Lovely colour though. And as you'd expect, a fat can of a exhaust at the back. A little Fiat Abarth Seicento in "Are you sure you can't see me?" spec. That is very bright, very tiddly. Probably not for me, but I know a number of people that fancy that. I bet it, I don't know if it goes like a rocket, but it looks like it ought to. These are becoming a bit less common, aren't they? Saab 900s with their characteristic 3-spoke alloy wheels. It's Mercedes-Benz SL, the R129. I think a few years ago when I did a video on which Mercedes-Benz SL to buy, everyone was predicting, and me included, that these would start to go up in value. But I don't know, they haven't really. This is the 500, the V8. Because it replaced the 107, the 107 being a very classic looking sort of Bobby Ewing style one. These ones seemed hugely modern by comparison. There's a couple of vehicles here that live here. This being a old RAF kind of airfield tractor, towing aircraft about, and the other one being this Morris Motors Fire Brigade. Could well be the real thing because Morris Motors was just down the road in Oxford or Cowley. Just speaks one thing to me: Trumpton. It shows my age. If you're not sure what Trumpton was, give it a Google. It's Alfa Romeo 159. I quite like this era of Alfas with their triple headlamps. Looks pretty nice. Also, I think these are the ones where you can get the sports brake, sort of estate cars. Nice. Aston Martin DB11 Volante. I'm starting to get excited by these a bit. I suppose I was when they first came out, but it was kind of unattainable then. But I've seen a coupe of one of these, 63 thereabouts, I think it was, at McGurk's, which I think is just stunning value for that V12. It's another rally-inspired car, Honda Integra Type R. Again, possibly another JDM car that's been imported. Certain look about it. And a Porsche 911. And I'm not entirely sure, it's obviously a very modern one. Someone will tell me. It's got scaffolding in the back. What does that mean? GT. Yeah, it's a GT3. And that's the 991. I think that's the 991 generation. Someone will tell me if I'm wrong. Unfortunately, at this point I managed to put my camera into slow motion mode, so although I've been able to speed up the footage, I had no audio. So I'm going to have to voice over for the rest of the video. So there's a BMW Alpina C1, I think this is. So based on the early 3 Series. But yeah, quite a nice livery. I'm not usually into sort of hotted up saloon cars, but yeah, that's a nice looking car. These I do like, the Volvo P1800. Obviously the steed of the Saint, the original Saint with Roger Moore. I didn't ever see that. I'm a bit young for that. Another BMW. I think this one's more of a probably similar era to the Alpina just then, but this is the bigger one, 4-door. Is it perhaps based on a sort of 5 Series size, 3 litre S? And this is a Mark II Toyota MR2 with the Targa roof. And Porsche 356. It's the I guess the Porsche that sort of most closely resembles the Volkswagen Beetle that perhaps inspired its creation. And this is a bit of a resto mod Mustang. It's in great condition. The headlamps were kind of angel eye headlamps, so they're obviously newer headlamps, but it's obviously been done up. And you know, sadly we don't have the sound because I caught this coming in and it just sounded beautiful. R107 SL, again the V8 500. Just a timeless shape, these. A long production run for these, I think it's about 18 years. From early 70s to late 80s. So I actually made my way down the road to a Petrolheadonism event at the Classic Collective. It's not far away from Bicester Heritage. They've got these sort of workshop where they do classic car restoration and repair and servicing, and a bit of sort of retail and display space next door. There was a lot of cars, quite a lot of people went from one event to the other, but there was a lot of different cars around as well. So including this AutoZam AZ1 or AZ1, a K car from Mazda. K cars being the regulations about the size, the weight, the power, the engine capacity and such like for Japanese cars, sort of city cars. But yeah, interesting little thing with sort of butterfly doors or gull wing doors. Space for a couple of people. Probably not people of my sort of stature. But yeah, fun little thing. Up on one of the ramps, boat tail Alfa Romeo Spider, the boat tail, the sort of version 1 or Series 1. Beautiful colour as well. I think it was in for its sort of suspension upgrade, or suspension replacement. And then I went outside, and this had just arrived. Lamborghini Miura, just absolutely stunning, and in this colour particularly, this kind of, what would you call it, lizard green, just fantastic, and obviously getting a lot of attention, understandably. By all accounts, those tailpipes are fake. I did have a quick look underneath. There are real tailpipes under that as well, but yeah, those are the fake ones. Then there's this Ferrari 328 Spider GTS. Looks a little bit like the 308, but it was obviously the evolution of that. I prefer the 308s. What was I saying earlier about Ford drivers putting their bonnets up? This Ford Granada Coupe got this big thumping V8 mounted in the front. Yeah, quite a distinctive shape on those. And someone have sort of parked this Lamborghini Gallardo next to the Dodge Viper SRT truck. Yeah, the Dodge Viper engine inside it, massive. And then again next door to a Shelby Cobra. Sorry, not a Shelby Cobra, a Shelby Mustang. And then a couple of British muscle cars, albeit with engines from America. The Jensen Interceptor. Far and away the car with the best name. A couple of examples there. That's a really nice colour, isn't it? And then another V8 car, TVR 350i, one of the wedges, or the early 80s, late 70s. B-Reg, it's early 80s, isn't it? 84. Yeah, quite a lot of cars there, but back into the workshop, found this Land Cruiser. Not one of the original FJs, but yeah, kind of, I suppose, 80s car. In for some pretty serious repairs by the look of it. Got its wings sort of over in the front there. And then, you know, if you think Interceptor's got a great name, this was a Hillman Avenger, which sounded better than the actual car. So they made it a Hillman Avenger Tiger. Hotting it up a bit, I guess doing a similar thing to what Lotus had done to the Cortinas, creating this Hillman Avenger Tiger, sitting next to another Jensen 541S, and then a Pagoda SL in the corner that belongs to a well-known maker of watches, or maker and seller of watches. And this is the Corvette, the new Corvette, mid-engined, which was obviously upset a lot of Corvette type people. I mean, it looked nice. I think if you were looking at it just in isolation, yeah, it was a great thing. And this, I think, resto mod or backdated 911. I think it's the 964 underneath. Sort of 2.7 RS kind of look about it with the ducktail. A nice little classic looking thing. And a great space. This is the retail side of, or the display retail side of the of Classic Collective. Different cars come in and out, different retailers come in and out, different brands. I understand they're just about to change their oil brand to something a bit cooler. So I was pleasantly surprised by both events there. The assembly at Bicester Heritage had quite a lot of interesting cars, both classic and modern, and managed to catch up with a few people that I know. And likewise at the Classic Collective at the Petrolheadonism event, again some very interesting cars. The Lamborghini Miura, the standout clearly, but also bumping into a few other people that I knew who hadn't managed to go to the first one. So all in all, a pretty good morning. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry about the sound on the second half. That is one of those really annoying things. I've now taken steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. But thank you very much for hanging on till the end and watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.